In a world where hunters, human warriors who possess supernatural abilities, must battle deadly monsters to protect mankind from a certain annihilation, a notorious weak hunter named Sang Jin-woo finds himself in a seemingly endless struggle for survival. One day, after narrowly surviving an overwhelming powerful double dungeon that nearly wipes out his entire party, a mysterious program called the System chooses him as its sole player, and in turn gives him the extremely rare ability to level up in strength and to turn anyone he kills to a loyal minion called a shadow. Jin-woo then sets out on a journey as he fights against all kinds of enemies, both man and monster, to discover the secrets of the dungeons and the true source of his powers. Solo leveling, also alternatively translated as only a level up. It's a South Korean web novel written by Chong Ong.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
I'm sorry for my bad Korean, but let's continue. Solo leveling was serialized for the first time in Kakao page on 4th of March 2018. It was illustrated by Yang Sung-rak alias Dobu, the CEO of Raidai Studio, who unfortunately died on July 23, 2022, after suffering from a cerebral hemorrhage. A role-playing video game is in development at Netmarble, an anime television series adaptation by A1 Pictures. It's set to premiere in January 2024. A Korean drama adaptation is in development, and the spin-off webtoon Solo Leveling Ragnarok it's set to premiere in 2024. And that's all that says about Solo Leveling on Wiki. So now let's get straight to the video. Solo leveling, how could I begin to describe it other than by saying it's so fucking good? However, if I sit and think about what exactly is so good about solo leveling, I wouldn't be able to figure it out at first, but after some time of pondering, I realized the answer. The story in solo leveling is not something new, not revolutionary, not even the main character. Sang Jin-woo is an unprecedented character. For example, Kirito, a character extremely similar to Sang Jin-woo, both in appearance and even in characteristics of the main character, both having a sister, both starting as the weakest character in the story and later progressing from zero, becoming the destined hero of the story, ending up being the only one who can face the ultimate villain. Both even encounter people envious of their power, or try to kill them, hinder them for their goals, or simply cause trouble, all due to their frustration at how overpowered the MC has become. So, after all the reintroduction, the question still remains, what's so good about solo leveling? Considering the evident fact that there is nothing new, there must be something specific that makes it so good, at a level where you hardly stop reading chapter after chapter, at the level of being top dog, the GOAT for most manhwa consumers. Even for those with a lot of experience in choosing good manhwa, it remains at least one of the very good and recommended ones for anyone wanting to enter in the world of manhwa, or also for someone who still didn't read solo leveling. After a long research in my human goblin cave, I managed to find the answer to the question, what makes solo leveling so good? The answer being, hey, put down your horse, stop throwing tomatoes at me. Alright, back to the answer. The answer is simpler than it might seem at first. The brilliant artwork and the fact that a lot of care has been given to the story development and its implementation from the novel, because yes, for those who don't already know, most manhwa are based on a novel with the same story. Often the novel serves as a guide for the manhwa authors and is not necessary for the story to be the same as in the novel. Therefore, sometimes you can see differences, or the manhwa might not even be based on a novel. However, in the case of solo leveling, there it's a novel, and apparently after the recent appearance of a few extra chapters with a side story, it seems they intended to conclude the story just like in the novel. At the moment of making the review, solo leveling has 179 chapters and 3 side story chapters. The side story being, as I said, the continuation with the MC's son and the MC after the big final battle, essentially having a total of 182 chapters. Before moving to the discussion part, where I'm gonna include some spoilers, I'm gonna include right here the rating that I give to the manhwa, which is 9 out of 10. Hey, stop the noise, don't yell at me for this rating. The explanation for the 9 rating is that the manhwa is good, but considering that many parts of it are not unique, the way it was constructed, even with many generic zero to hero story components, spoilers, but with a brilliant artwork. I think the reason is more than evident. Solo Leveling is good, extremely good. At one point I considered it the GOAT, but reading many more manhwa with an U not with a W, and also manga, I believe is not the greatest of all time, but it's very close to having that title. The only thing that keeps it from getting a 10 is that it lacks the necessary uniqueness. Again, it's my opinion, so if you have a different opinion and want to share it with me and the community, don't hesitate to leave me a comment pointing out what you think I got wrong or what you think I missed. Spoiler warning, attention, the part where I discuss certain events from the manhwa follows, so there is a risk of receiving spoilers from small to extremely large ones. Pause the clip, go read it if you haven't read Solo Leveling, and come back here when you are finished. However, if you don't mind spoilers or have finished reading, continue from here. I've warned you for anything, so proceed at your own risk. Now that we have reached my favorite part, discussing the story events, let's get into it. Here I want to start discussing various events from the manhwa that seemed good, brilliant or extraordinary to me. In other words, the most memorable events for me. Let's start with the beginning, the moment when Jin-woo gains access to the system through which he can increase his power. As everyone probably knows, once you become a hunter and acquire your powers, you can't increase your power level anymore. The power factor plays an extremely important role to the story, and the way Jin-woo not only went from the weakest hunter to the most powerful, but also the fact that he gained access in the creepiest possible way for a protagonist almost dying already makes you not want to put the manhwa down after the first chapters, and makes you want to read it until the end. In essence, the author has already captivated you from the first chapters. After that, it's just adding enough fuel to the fire to make it big enough, and for those who haven't figured it out yet, the fuel being the cool events and the fire being your desire to read. Returning to the discussion about how Sang Jin-woo obtained the ability to increase his power. Dude, the statue is way too creepy. The way initially you don't get the impression that it would have any role in the dungeon Jin-woo enters, but after boom, the statue starts killing hunters and they start praying to the statue to spare their lives, making the situation extremely creepy if you put yourself in that situation. Basically, that's the first point where you become captivated by the story. Plus, Sang Jin-woo is the one who discovers how the statue works, so none of the remaining hunters die anymore, and he is left behind to save the rest, despite being the MC, which makes you read it even more to see exactly how he gonna escape in the next chapter, since that is clearly not an option. And the fact that after this the system appears in front of him momentarily makes you believe that all hunters are like this, but you discover later that Jin-woo is the only one with his power, not to mention experience he had with the system set training, especially at the beginning with the worm that almost killed him, narrowly escaping, later easily killing those mindless beasts driven purely by instincts. But along the way, for example, the moment he receives the key to the more advanced training, the one with the demons, he discovers that there are actually sentient beings and that someone controls the system. You start to ask thousands of questions and create hundreds of hypotheses, later finding out that in fact another statue was alive and controlled the immense statue, and many other events that only turn your expectations upside down, sometimes by a little, sometimes by a lot. And when I say this, I mean that you start to believe you understand what's coming, and sometimes it's true, but most of the times you realize you were far from expectations created about how the story will continue. In short, after the events I've mentioned both without spoiling and with the potential for small to large spoilers, the massive difference is made by the artwork and how the story unfolds. That's why even though I don't consider it a GOAT, I can still say it's one of my favorite manga. I would recommend to anyone, whether you are new or old to manga. If you haven't read it and want something good, read Solo Leveling. If you think I missed something or believe something should be added, leave me a comment, a like if you like the clip, and subscribe if you want to see more of this type of clips. I've been Azabe, and we're gonna hear from each other in a new clip. I wish you happy reading. Bye!